What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Wildly Opinionated podcast, your source for random wildlife discussion. Thank you for joining us again today. I am your host, Bonner Lade Watson, and I am glad to be here for, if you might have noticed, our first video podcast. It's monumental, it's historic, it is the biggest thing you ever seen, it's the best thing you ever seen, and I'm hyping it up way too much because it's probably just okay. But thank you for joining us. I'm very excited to do our first video podcast or video, whatever you want to call it, over something that's very fun, has been getting very big, and the community has been very helpful over the past couple years. March Mammal Madness. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to go ahead and explain it in a little bit, but once again, just thank you for joining us, and if you would be so kind, go ahead and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at wildly_podcast. Also follow my personal, also on Instagram and Twitter, at TheBonnerLade. That is BONNERLADE. Those are my family names. Unfortunately, my parents decided they wanted me to get made fun of in public school. But you know what? It's a character builder. That's what my dad said. Also, if you have questions, comments, and concerns, or if you just want to hear about something on the show or see something, go ahead and email us at wildlyopinionated@gmail.com. So, March Mammal Madness. If you don't know what that is, basically, and I might butcher some of this, but from what my understanding is around 2015, Dr. Katie Hindy at Arizona State University started this bracket on her blog, Mammals Suck, and the community got really big, and a lot of other scientists collaborated to make these brackets that are basically like March Madness brackets you see in basketball. If you're not a basketball fan, it is a round of 64 teams, 65 if you include a wild card, that have 4 different divisions seeded 1 to 16. And basically each division goes against the teams in their division, and they go from rounds of 64 to 32 to a Sweet 16 to an Elite 8 to a Final 4 to a championship round, and the champion is crowned. So just for some bracketology, we're going to go in and go through the contestants of each division. So we're doing the jump division first, and I'll explain that in a bit. We're doing the jump division, the 16 teams or animals in that, and basically instead of having basketball teams in this, you have mammals. And over the years, they've gone away to not just mammals, but some others, like insects and reptiles and birds, depending, but it's still mostly mammal dominated. It's a March Mammal Madness bracket. And we're going to break down who I think should win and who you think should win. I mean, this is just, it's my opinion, but you should probably listen to me because I started doing this in 2017 and I won my lab with the short-faced bear because I'm a king, you know, I'm just the best. But I also lost horribly last year in the 2018 bracket. So only listen to me about 50% of the time, or just, you know, weigh your options. Know that I'm the best, but I also suck really bad. So, but yeah, this is basically, we want to show you all the contestants, who you think should win based on their stats and their X factor and who they're going against. And that way, you can win your bracket with all your groups of friends, have bragging rights, be a king among men, a queen among women, a whatever you want among whatever you want. You will rule the world. You will drink the blood of your enemies out of the skulls of the peasants. Or you can just, you know, make a little certificate and put it on your fridge like I did in 2017. So, let's get to it with the jump division. This is my favorite division, actually. So I'm glad they're doing this one first. Oh, back up, sorry. Wild card round. I'm a little bit late on doing a wild card analysis because I was in spring break mode. But wild card was March 11th. Basically, they had people from contestants from the category division, which is just non-felines that have feline-like names. Some of them are mammals, some of them are others. These two in the wildcard round were insects, the antlion versus the tiger beetle. And basically the wildcard round, for those of you who don't know, it's a play-in match for the the weakest of that division, and it's only in one division. And they fight for a 16 seed spot so they can play the 1 seed in that next division. So these two were what we had. We had the antlion versus the tiger beetle. And the antlion they did the larval stage. So it's about, you know, a centimeter in length. They dig these little sand pit traps where they just like dig in backwards and do little circular motions to make a little pit, and kind of like a sarlacc in Star Wars if we're going to be really nerdy about it. And they just kind of sit here. And they got these big jaws, big mandibles. And they sit there and they wait for ants or whatever to come in, and they get them and they suck their fluids out of them, and they're in this sand pit. I guess you can't see that. They're in this little sand pit. And so that's kind of how these larval get around. These larval stages get their food. The tiger beetle is a little bit bigger than the larval stage of the antlion. It's about 2 centimeters. They have some pretty big jaws as well, and they can run over 5 miles per hour, so these long, slender legs. But it wasn't enough to overcome the antlion. The tiger beetle caught the L, and your wild card contestant for the category division, which will be next week, is the antlion. So, but now that we've gone over the wild card, let's go ahead and start with round 1, which starts March 13th on live streaming on Twitter. Oh, speaking of, if you want to follow this on Twitter, just follow at 2019 MMM Let's Go, and they'll have all of the official stuff. You can also go and just search the community with the hashtag 2019 MMM. Be sure to do 2019 MMM and not MMM 2019. That's a whole different hashtag. This is the official one, and you'll see stuff from the professors and scientists that are live tweeting these things out and having all the information, because there's a lot of data analysis went into this. Like, granted, it's just kind of a crapshoot for some of these, and some stuff might get lucky, but also there's some science that went behind this. So pay attention to these people on Twitter and see what they're saying as you build your bracket. But go ahead and do that and get that stuff in, so you can have you can have the best bracket. Drink from the blood of your enemies. Blah 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 blah. Peasant king. Best. So I didn't have a pointer, so I just improvised. Our first contestant in Jump Division of 2019 March Mammal Madness is the glorious Bengal Tiger. Now, Bengal Tigers are around 8 to 10 feet long. They weigh anywhere from 300 to 500 pounds. Our next contestant, that is the 16 seed going against the 1 seed Tiger, is the ringtail cat. They are about a foot long, a couple pounds, and they are great climbers. But the thing with that is, tigers are tigers, and ringtail cats are ringtail cats. Now, there's a reason the tiger is the 1 seed and the ringtail cat is a 16 seed. And while I do love the X factor of this ringtail cat, it's small, it's agile, it can climb very well, the X factor for the tiger is essentially it's a tiger. So I'm going to go with the tiger. So we have the Bengal Tiger taking the first round against the ringtail cat. Next division, or the next round in this division, is the spring hare. Sorry, not next round. Next battle is the spring hare versus the jackrabbit. You know what? I don't need this. Spring hare versus the jackrabbit. Spring hare is in genus Pedetes, however you want to say it. It is not quite a rodent, not quite a rabbit. It's kind of a little in-between-ish phase. I'm sure there's some type of evolutionary thing that makes it completely different. But I am not an expert. I'm just a guy who likes to talk a lot and likes animals. So, you have the spring hare, jackrabbit. Many of you are familiar with the jackrabbit. 3 to 15 pounds, about 2 feet in length. Very agile, very fast, good jumpers, can survive in pretty harsh climates and habitats. The thing with the spring hare is they're also very good jumpers and leapers and agile, and they're about 5 to 6 pounds. So this is a pretty even battle, in my opinion. But I went ahead and picked the jackrabbit to go ahead and take this division, or take this round. So, sorry about your spring hare. I dropped my pin cap. Oh. Next battle we have is the serval versus the rock wallaby. And the serval is just a wild cat, about 25 pounds, 2.5 feet long. They're agile, great leapers. Pretty much, like I said, everything in this division. That's why it's called the Jump division. They're very good, agile jumpers and leapers. They're very good predators for small rodents and sometimes bigger prey in their savanna prairie habitats. Versus the rock wallaby, which is about 3.5 feet tall, about 10 to 15 pounds. Now, I don't think the rock wallaby is a big threat to the serval personally, but sometimes they're just too cute to attack. They're just cute little mini kangaroos with much less boxing experience. But I'm going to go ahead and go serval takes this round, unfortunately. And the rock wallaby will just have to live with its cuteness. Poor rock wallaby. Next we have the 4-seeded barrel versus, and I hope I didn't, let's just call it a Himalayan blue sheep, because that's what barrel versus the stoat. The stoat. The stoat is a voracious little predator, weighing about 9 ounces, and your barrel is about 120 pounds, adept at running on cliffs with big, meaty horns. While I want to pick the stoat, because they are a scourge to native birds, the barrel isn't a native bird. It is a Himalayan blue sheep that outweighs the stoat by 119.5 pounds. So, we got our Himalayan blue sheep moving on to the next round. Our next battle is the Impala versus the Klipspringer. Now, your Impala is roughly 60 to 170 pounds. Your Klipspringer is about 18 to 40 pounds. 18 inches to 2 feet, 2 feet at the shoulder. Now, these Klipspringers, they're small but mighty. They have 7 to 9 centimeter horns that are just coming out. They're ready to go, ready to fight, ready to win. But your Impala, sponsored by Chevy, up to 305 horsepower and 29 miles per gallon highway. Impala, all day. Oh, drop my pen. Now, our next battle, Spinner Dolphin versus Spinifex Hopping Mouse. This is an interesting one to me because they're two very different creatures in very different environments. Now, your Spinner Dolphin is about 50 to 170 pounds, about 4 1/4 to 7 3/4 feet long. They're amazing swimmers, phenomenal jumpers, and they get their name because when they jump out of the water, I think they can get up to 10 feet or whatever, they spin on a longitudinal axis. And it's beautiful, it's acrobatic, it's amazing. And dolphins are smart, they're great predators. But they live in the water. Now your Spinifex hopping mouse, much smaller, about an ounce, about 4 inches long. But they live in the desert, and they are well suited for that environment. They have very specialized kidneys that conserve as much water and moisture as they can. And their urine is pretty much solid because they keep all of the water that they can in their system. Plus, they have these large feet that they can hop around and gallop around the desert and harsh, arid environments very quickly. So I think this one is going to be special and really particular as far as what environment are they fighting in. Because you don't always know that they're going to be on a level playing field. So if it's anywhere near water, I think the Dolphins got it. But if you have it kind of in a different situation, the mouse is pretty well equipped. But I'm going to go ahead and pick the powerhouse Spinner Dolphin at the 3 seed to take down the 14 seed Hopping Mouse. We'll see. That's kind of it's odd to say that it's gambling to take a 3 seed over a 14 seed, but I think this is kind of gamble. But we'll find out. Our next one is the Sifaka versus the 9-banded armadillo. Now, if you've ever seen that show Zaboomafoo, Sifaka is the one in that. But it's a lemur, obviously from Madagascar, as all lemurs are. And the reason they're in the jump division is because, unlike other lemurs, they stand upright in trees and they just jump around. But they're way better at it than me, because they can jump, I think, distances of 30 feet, if they're jumping from tree to tree. They're about 7 to 13 pounds, and they get their name from a very distinct call that they make, like an alarm call. And they're like, Sifaka! Anyway. 9-banded armadillo, on the other hand, they are about 14 pounds, 10 inches long, and they're just a ball of armor. They can roll into that ball and protect themselves, and it's also believed they might carry leprosy. I don't know the full thing on that. It might just be a wives' tale, urban myth, legend, whatever, but the threat of leprosy is something that a Sifaka should be paying attention to. Now, the Sifaka is a 7 seed, the armadillo is a 10 seed, but I, being a Texan, born and raised, I'm going to go ahead and rock with the native Dasypus novum cinctus 9-banded armadillo to move on to the next round. Texas forever. Armadillo moves on. Sorry, Sifaka. Zaboomafoo is an overrated show. Actually, it was okay. I liked it when I was a kid. But next we have the Markhor, or screwhorn goat, versus the streaked Tenrec. Now, the Tenrec is a very small, 5.5 inches, 5 to 10 ounces, not a rodent. I think it's, family Aphrosididae. I might have butchered that. I'm sorry if there's a Tenrec expert listening. Don't hate me. But they're tiny. They have these little quills that they can rub together to make noise, and they're really cool, very unique. But the Markhor, there's a reason it's a 2 seed, about 90 pounds, and the males have horns that are upwards of 1.5 meters. They're beautiful. They screw out like a corkscrew. So I'm going to go ahead and go Markhor takes it from the streaked Tenrec, which would have the next round with the Bengal Tiger facing the Jackrabbit, the Serval facing the Barrel, Himalayan blue sheep, the Impala facing the Spinner Dolphin, and the 9-banded Armadillo facing the Markhor. Now, this is just my thing. Is it right? Probably. But go ahead and see what you want and what you think about these different contestants and what you think about their X factors and their weights and their sizes, and you gotta think of their environments as well. Like, Himalayan blue sheep, it's on these cliffs and stuff like that, and stoat may be small, but is there something that can do to work with that? Like, I picked my things for my specific reasons, and I gave you those reasons so you could pick them yourselves. But also just keep in mind that anything can happen in March Madness and March Mammal Madness, and there's a reason it's called madness, because anything can happen. You can have, this isn't going to happen because the Bengal Tiger is the best. It's just the best animal. But the ringtail cat could come out and have a good day. Cinderella story, beat this Bengal Tiger. But anyway, that is it for the jump around division analysis. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you all have great brackets and can just kill it in your March Mammal Madness. Once again, this is Wildly Opinionated, your source for random wildlife discussion. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Like, share, revine, add us on MySpace. Send us a carrier pigeon with your favorite episode, and we'll do our best to be the best we can for you. Thanks again, guys. See you later.